Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. And yes, finally, part 3 of my review of Star Wars Visions Volume 2 / Season 2. Yes, finally, we've come up to the last 3 final episodes of Volume 2 / Season 2 of Star Wars Visions. And those being episodes 7, 8, and 9, The Bandits of Golak, I think I'm saying that right, The Pit, and Awu's Song. Yeah. Again, how I pronounce some of these words and names, especially, say, Star Wars, But yes, so the last 3 final episodes of Volume 2 of Star Wars Visions, that is, were pretty good, actually. So, of course, starting with Episode 7, The Bandits of Golak, and it was done by 88 Pictures. 88 Pictures, the animation that for this episode, I really feel like that, is it the same studio that has done the animation for Clone Wars? Because if you look at the animation for Episode 7, The Bandits of Golak, and you see how the characters look and everything, clearly a resemblance to how the characters look in the animation style of Clone Wars. Don't you think? I'm pretty sure, but if any of you guys know, you can let me know in the comments section. Correct me if I'm right or wrong, you get the point. But yeah, The Bandits of Golak. It was a pretty good one. As I said, the last 3 episodes were good. I know I'm probably going to say that a couple more times, but anyways. So, the description / the story of Episode 7. Fleeing from their village by train and pursued by ferocious Imperial forces, a boy and his Force-sensitive younger sister seek refuge in a vibrant and dangerous Dahaba, if I'm saying that right, yeah. And what's great about this episode, and when it comes to the world of Star Wars, how they do their best to put in cultures and stuff like that, in reality, and doing that in Star Wars the right way, and do it very carefully, you get my point. In this episode, I was definitely getting, I want to say, Arabian kind of vibes. Do you know what I mean? And if any of you were getting the same vibes that I got watching this episode, and if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so throughout this episode, and as I read the description / the story, an older brother and his Force-sensitive younger sister, they are fleeing from Imperial forces, and, the characters, we have, of course, the brother named Charuk, if I'm saying that right, and his younger sister, Rani. And, we find out that Rani is Force-sensitive, and, of course, knowing the Empire, they would track down anybody that's Force-sensitive, yeah. And with them, on the train, and at one point, Rani, she wants to play, a flute that comes from the family that they have, but Charuk tells his younger sister that she can't play it, and also they want to have candy, from a trolley cart basically, and then at one point she uses the Force to grab the flute. She just wanted to play the flute, but by getting the flute, that causes a stir on the train. A lot of passengers noticed that she used the Force, and from there on, because the Imperial officers, they're kind of on Charuk's tail. Then outside of the train, there's, this tribe that rides on, Star Wars, very own horses, and even, the stormtroopers, trying to take them on, trying to kill them and so on, while also, trying to go after Charuk. Just so much happening on the train, even when, say, Rani, she is trying to save her brother, almost getting killed, and even, say, when they come to a tunnel, having him duck and to get in the train right before they go through a cave. Eventually, they do get out of the train, and they find refuge at this village, and this elderly lady, I think it's Rugal, like she's like the head of the village, I want to say, and even like say keeping those in that village like set straight and cooperative and so on, and especially like there are these two aliens, like they just kind of bicker at each other and so on. But then we do get an Inquisitor. An Inquisitor appears in this episode and is seeking those who were spotted on the train, which of course being Charuk and Ronnie. The Inquisitor was pretty cool. And literally, that's all that he's credited, is just the Inquisitor. That's all we need to know anyways. And, yes, and then the Inquisitor starts to realize that he starts to put the math together on who it was that were spotted on the train, which of course being the brother and sister, and just trying to get to them, and especially for Ronnie, using the Force. And then at one point, like, this, like, windy, like, storm comes in, and basically, like, a tornado or whatever. Everybody, like, and then there's, like, a slow-mo moment. And even when, say, the Inquisitor was about to take down Charuk and Ronnie, sure enough, Rugal steps in, and we find out that she is one with the Force and is a Jedi. I mean, used to be a Jedi, and she takes on the Inquisitor. Of course, yeah, we get a lightsaber battle. Then, of course, she does take down and defeat the Inquisitor, like going for his neck. And it's like he's perfectly fine being killed, and he laughs, because finding out that she used to be a Jedi, like, oh well, like, what a way for him being killed. He just laughs and just chuckles, and yeah, he's dead, of course. And Rugal, basically, tells Ronnie and Charuk that Ronnie has no choice but to join her and to follow her, as with anybody who is Force sensitive, and they have to join their kind, which being the Jedi, that kind of stuff. They can no longer be with their loved ones and such, their family. They have to do what they need to do because of the ways of the Force and stuff like that. And at one point, Rugal, like, opens, like, this gateway underneath, like, water. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've seen, like, one of the reactors on YouTube reacting to those episodes, and they mentioned something about, Moses. Like, Moses with the water and such. Yeah, something like that, But pretty cool, I gotta say. And thus, Ronnie and Charuk, they have to say their goodbyes, and I think, because Charuk gave his little sister the flute, and, thus Ronnie joins with Rugal. They go down beneath, and, of course, the gateway closes, and with the water, but Ronnie actually slipped the flute, up the water, and she really wanted her brother to have the flute. A very sweet moment right there. And the last line that Charuk says is, "May the Force be with you." A fitting way to end the episode, and we get a little bit of a flute solo, and even when the credits are rolling, oh, that was a great way to end the episode. And yeah, and when it comes to Star Wars, there are some emotional stuff to it. And this is a good example, I tell you, especially the relationship between brother and sister. No matter how old, which one is which. You get my point. But yeah, overall, episode 7, The Bandits of Golak, was a good one. And now, let's come to episode 8, The Pit. And this episode was done by, well, Lucasfilm themselves, and D-Art Shatayo, I think that's how, I hope I'm saying the name right. But yeah, so, yeah, Lucasfilm also doing this episode. Jeez, and I can't remember, like, they did do other episodes in Star Wars Visions for, I think, for Volume 2 and Volume 1. I just forgot. You can let me know. But anyways, Episode 8, The Pit, again, was another good one. The description / the story. A fearless young prisoner forced to dig for Kyber by the Empire, of course, always the Empire, plans a risky escape for he and his people. Now, in this one, yeah, I think, yeah, like, for me, this is easy to follow, because, yeah, basically, the Empire brings prisoners to, a planet where, for one thing, they can locate, Kybers, and, yeah, because what they're doing is they are digging, there's gold in the hills, stuff like that. So they're digging and finding Kybers, and I'm pretty sure that, yeah, they had succeeded finding Kybers. But once all that's done, well, they are freed, they are released, the prisoners. But, like, knowing the Empire and what they do next after freeing them, they leave them down in the pits. Like, well, I mean, in one pit. It's just one pit where, they have the prisoners dig for the Kybers, and when they find the Kybers, when their job is done, they free them, like, unhandcuffed them, and they just leave them in the pit. That's all. So, God, screw you, Empire. I mean, it shows you how evil the Empire is. But, yeah. So, our main characters, actually, yeah, because in this episode, there's a lot of familiar faces. We have David Diggs, if I'm saying his full name right. David Diggs, actually, because I recognize him, he was, he was in Hamilton, that came out on Disney Plus, and the voice of Sebastian in the live-action Little Mermaid film. So yeah, and he was also in that film with Owen Wilson and Julia Roberts, Wonder, and Jacob Tremblay, yeah. Well, not to mention, because he would once again work with Jacob Tremblay in the Little Mermaid film, so that's pretty cool. So there's him, and he voices obviously one of the main characters, and the brother, Krugs. Yeah, I think I'm saying that name right. There's also Eureka, being voiced by Anika Noni Rose, aka the voice of Princess Tiana in The Princess and the Frog. Yep. Nice to see her do something Star Wars. And there's also Livy, obviously, yeah, this is Kruk's little sister, voiced by Jordan Currit. I think, yeah, I'm saying that right. There's also Cedric Yorbro, if I'm saying his last name right. He does a voice. He voices, as his character's credited, Old Prisoner. Steve Bloom and Matthew Wood, they also do a couple of voices in this episode. Matthew Wood, he voices Stormtrooper 1, and Steve Bloom, he voices the commander, obviously the Imperial commander. But yeah, and that's about it really, because I'm looking at it, of course, on its IMDb page. And yeah, also Matthew Wood voices Stormtrooper number 2, like the only stormtroopers that have dialogue in this episode. And by the way, Anika's character that she voices, Eureka, yeah, she's also the mother. So yeah. So anyways, so with the story, because, they're left in the pit, and Krux, like, his relationship with his sister, and telling his little sister to, look at the stars, and that's something that, it's very important for his little sister, to look at the stars. And Crux attempts, and successfully attempts, to get out of the pit and make it to civilization and to seek help, of course. So yeah, again, he successfully gets out of the pit, and he goes to the big city that's near the pit, and basically is trying to get everyone's attention. And at one point he does so by, getting everybody's attention and telling them that, we built these cities, we helped you, and we need your help. And yeah, and he's got a point, they owe them something, by helping them. You get my point. Of course, the Empire being present, and the stormtroopers, they're of course on his tail, and at one point, he is caught by the stormtroopers, and what happens next? Oh my gosh, I should have seen this coming. Well, they take him back to the pit, and, well, because it's a long drop, it's a big pit, well, they throw him, and he is falling to his death. When I was watching this episode for the first time, I was like, is nobody gonna help him? Like, the people down below, could they not have all gathered to help him to not fall to his death? And I'm not trying to give this episode a hard time and to the people that are down in the pit, but I'm just saying, like, I can't be the only one that thought of this. But at the same time, from what I can tell, like, you know, the pit, like, from what we saw in the shot where he was falling, like, the pit was dark and you couldn't really see anything that was down there. So I don't know if that goes for the people down there, if they really couldn't see what was happening, like, if they really couldn't see him falling, if you get what I'm saying. But still, like, why did nobody help him? Again, they could have gathered and they could have saved him. That would have been easy and he wouldn't have died. But sadly, he did die. And of course, this hits, you know, his little sister hard. But you know what? She and the others, they continue what Crux was doing, you know? Basically trying to get the people in the city, their attention and so on, you know? Like, you know, they start chanting, like, look at those stars, stuff like that. And then sure enough, the people in the city do come in and they start helping them. Even, like, with the Empire and the stormtroopers that are present, like, trying to, you know, stop the people from the city from helping. But the commander, well, he basically tells his men to stand down and retreat. There's nothing that they can do because they don't stand against the people in the city, you know? And yeah, because good to see them just flee and just get out of there. Like, there's nothing else that they can do. They lost. So yeah. So as I said, like, the people in the city, they help them, like, bringing in ships and, you know, taking on the passengers. And at one point, we see Livy actually having a Kyber crystal. And sure enough, it's obvious, we find out that Livy is Force sensitive. She has the Force in her. And, like, you know, the Kyber crystal, like, floating on her hand. Oh, that was pretty cool. So, yep, her too, being Force sensitive. And, you know, another thing is, like, some of the little girl characters, especially in Volume 2, some of them being one with the Force. And basically, like, 3 in a row, because Episode 7, this, and Episode 9, which I'm about to get to. But yeah, to finish off Episode 8, The Pit, it was a good episode. Again, Crux could have been alive if the people down there saved him. Again, I don't want to give this episode a hard time, and I'm trying not to complain that much. But I'm just saying, you know, and I'm sure some of you guys would agree with me too. All right, now we've come to the 9th and final episode of Star Wars Visions, Volume 2/Season 2, and that being Awu's Song. Yeah, and again, another good episode. All right, so I'll go ahead and read the description / the story. An alien child who longs to sing is raised by her loving but stern father to stay quiet because of the calamitous effect, if I'm saying that word right, effect her voice has on the crystals in the nearby mines. So yeah, basically, this too being stop motion, and the stop motion animation, I should say, being done by Triggerfish. Yeah, that's the name of the studio that did the stop motion animation for this. Yeah, again, a pretty good episode, and basically, like, centering on, you know, father and daughter, and with the cast, like, well, because Awu had, like, 2 voices, one regular and one singing voice, as in some animated films, you know, and also Synthia Erivo, if I'm saying her full name right, she did a voice in this. She was the voice of Kratu, and obviously, yeah, because this one character that visits Awu and her father, named Abat. Abat, I hope I'm saying the name right. Again, some names in Star Wars, a bit difficult to pronounce. And by the way, Kratu, being voiced by Cynthia Erivo, as I said, Cynthia, well, she'd be best known for playing the Blue Fairy in Disney's live-action Pinocchio. Yep, that's her, and nice to see her do a voice, especially voicing this certain character who we find out more about later on in this episode, because again, Kratu visiting Abat, and basically, yeah, because Abat has a red crystal, and somehow Awu is connected to the crystal, because with her singing, and it's obvious that she is part of the Force, she has the Force in her, her singing has to do something with, being one with the Force and stuff like that. Actually, communicating and singing to the crystals. And her father just being very protective of her and with her singing and stuff like that. And Kratu sees something so far in Awu, and she's very impressed with. And later on, because when Kratu at one point leaves, Awu and her father, they head into the village, they start to work, where he works and where she works, taking care of, animals, like a farm institute or something like that, And at one point, she got a bug off one of the animals that she was taking care of, and then the bug started going in some path that where she followed the bug to, and she ends up in one of the mining tunnels, and thus, she sees all these crystals, and she's trying to be quiet at times, but at one point, she then starts to sing and communicates with the crystals. But even with her singing, something happens in the mines, and everything starts to rumble and so on. Uh-oh, something not good is happening. And even at one point, her father, Abat, I hope I am saying the name right, sorry if I'm not, because he works in the mining tunnels, and he discovers that, Awu is there, he saves her, they escape from the mining tunnels, because again, everything's rumbling and such, and even when they make their way to the bridge, also we also get another character. I'm not sure, probably not the wife / mother, of Abat and Awu, but probably just a co-worker, I want to say, Atu. And Atu, is there and helping them, to get out of there. But even at one point, Awu's father, trips, and, with the bridge crumbling, and, he's holding on, and, well, Awu, she's trying to, pull her father up, not fall to his death, but then she then falls, and thus they're falling to their deaths. However, Kratu shows up, and, of course, she is a Jedi. She is one with the Force, unleashing her lightsabers, and she, jumps down and, lands on the ground and using the Force to hold them, from falling to their deaths. And and thus they're, both father and daughter are saved, and they're not dead, and thanks to Awu and her singing, well, she basically, calms down, the mining tunnels and the crystals, and Kratu telling Awu's father that with her singing, she, managed to, I guess, restore, the crystal, stuff like that. And basically, and just like with Episode 7, Awu has a choice to either stay with her father or to go with Kratu, that is. And, of course, Awu makes the decision. She joins Kratu. And, of course, Awu and her father sang their goodbyes, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, they do say the words, "May the Force be with you," are said in this episode, and thus Awu leaves with Kratu. And I gotta say, the design of Kratu's ship was pretty interesting. It reminded me something of I don't know, like those flying aircrafts, like with those kind of windows. If you've seen that episode and you've seen the look and design of Kratu's ship, you know what I'm talking about. Pretty interesting. I'm not complaining. It looked pretty cool. So again, thus, Wu leaves with Kratu, and, you know, again, because her and her dad said their goodbyes, and at the end, yeah, at one point he was waving goodbye as they were leaving, and it was really nice because as the credits were rolling, we heard Wu sing, yeah, a fitting way to end episode 9. So episode 9, Wu's song, was a good episode, and for it being the 9th and final episode of Volume 2/Season 2 of Star Wars Visions. And with that, finally, my review of Star Wars Visions Volume 2/Season 2 is complete, and it's done and over with. Yeah, what a heck of a season this was. And no offense to the first season was good. I mean, you know, for season 1, it was, all the episodes were, you know, like, say, anime. But in this season, it was more than just, say, the anime style. There was more to it, different animation styles, from CG, stop motion, and it was perfect. Like, definitely, like, this is what we needed for, you know, a new season of Star Wars Visions. There were some great episodes in this. And, you know, because definitely, like, some of my favorites, and I know I've probably talked about this before, yeah, like, you know, some of my favorite episodes would have to be, like, say, episode 4, I Am Your Mother. That was done by Artman. And also, like, there was also, well, The Bandits of Golak was another good one. And as well as episode 3, In the Stars, yeah. Just, you know, overall, season 2/Volume 2 of Star Wars Visions was a good season. And, you know, just I look forward to when, you know, we get more of Star Wars Visions. And yeah, what about you guys? What did you think of Volume 2/Season 2 of Star Wars Visions? What did you think of my review? Leave comments, and give this review video a like, as always. So, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my Part 3, my third and final part review of Star Wars Visions, Volume 2/Season 2, again. Season 2 was a great season for Star Wars Visions, and until Season 3. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. Take care, and until I review the next Star Wars show, which being Ahsoka, peace out, and may the Force be with you.